So you're here to threaten me?
Oh, that's exactly why I'm here.
And I'm supposed to stay away from Eric?
That's right, Stephanie.
Or else? I'm going to call your bluff. What are you going to do to me if I don't stay away from him?
Oh, you don't want to push me. Not in the direction you're pushing.
Is that the same direction that Lauren Fenmore pushed you? I know that there's something that happened between you and Lauren. And I also know that it'll finish you with Eric if he finds out what it is.
This has nothing to do with Lauren Fenmore.
You're right, it doesn't. It only has to do with me. And that being the case, I'm going to see Eric as much as I want to. And I want to a lot.
Yeah, come in. I'll be with you in just a second. Jack.
Eric.
What can I do for you?
Answer a couple of questions for me.
What questions?
It's about Stephanie. I need to know exactly where you're coming from. Stephanie needs to know that as well.
Well, you've spoken to Stephanie then, I guess.
No.
Then it's not what Stephanie needs, it's what you need.
Oh, that's a very clever way of evading my question.
No, I'm just trying to clarify the question. You wanted to appear as though you're here on Stephanie's behalf.
I am.
No, you're not. Stephanie doesn't need you to protect her from me. That's not what this is about at all.
So, we take him to the emergency room. By now, his temperature is close to 105, and he goes into a mild convulsion.
Convulsion?
Yeah. The doc called it benign febrile convulsion. It happens to a kid when his temperature rises too fast.
So what gave him the temperature?
Roseola. It's a childhood illness.
It's not serious.
No, he'll be fine. He's at home right now, in fact, watching TV, enjoying a rare day off from school. But I'll tell you, I have never been so scared in my entire life. Sally either.
Have you talked with Macy?
No, I've been trying to get in touch with her. Have you seen her?
She's very upset with you.
I know. I've got to straighten this thing out.
It isn't going to be that easy, Anthony.
And this copy goes to the shipper.
Right, and the yellow one stays here.
And what about follow-up?
Well, once we get confirmation that the order was delivered, then we call the customer 3 days later, and we do a QC questionnaire.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those.
Do you mind if we go over this later, Keith? I have to sit down for a few minutes.
Well, sure. What's the matter? You don't feel well?
A headache. Not enough sleep.
Well, that's not a lot of fun. Huh?
That's the problem. I need to have some fun, and I sure didn't get any last night.
What happened last night?
Anthony was supposed to come over, and he never showed up.
Where was he?
With Mother.
Well, what was he doing with your mother if he was supposed to be with you?
Good question.
You know, Macy, it's none of my business, but that situation is getting a little weird.
Oh, thank goodness you're both here. Any messages?
No, Mom.
Well, thank you very much, darling, for covering for me. You too, Keith. Oh, I have had a night like you will not believe.
I came here for information, and I think I'm entitled to that, don't you?
What would you like to know, Jack?
Your intentions about Stephanie, for starters.
My intentions?
Stephanie's vulnerable to you. She always has been. Don't tell me you're not well aware of that.
Where are you going with this, Jack?
Well, it's obvious. You're a married man. You're making moves on another woman, a woman that I happen to care very deeply about.
Is that what you think I'm doing? Making moves on Stephanie?
Well, what would you call it?
Not that I owe you an explanation, Jack. But Stephanie and I are friends. We have been for many years.
Doesn't wash, Eric. What Stephanie feels for you is a lot more than just a friendship, and I think you're taking advantage of it. So I'll ask you again. What are your intentions? You're going to divorce your wife and go back to Stephanie again, or not?
Is there anything else, Sheila?
Do you honestly believe you can compete with me for Eric?
I don't think of you as competition.
You know how ridiculous that sounds?
Really? Why? Because you're younger than I am?
Oh, not to mention far more desirable.
You are a beautiful young woman. And at one time, that was enough for Eric. It isn't anymore.
So now you're trying to tell me that Eric no longer has any needs because I happen to know quite the opposite.
No, he has needs. He has very powerful and very strong needs. He also needs to be stimulated and inspired, I would say, probably more than most men half his age.
And I wonder who could provide that. You? Or me?
Sheila, I know that you look fabulous in a bikini. But every day, year in and year out, Eric is surrounded by beautiful young women that look fabulous in bikinis. Better than you will ever look. No, that's not what he needs. He needs a woman who understands him, who knows everything about him, who calms him, who comforts him, who stimulates him, who inspires him, and who sends him into ecstasy. And that, sweetheart, I have done for years.
You talk a pretty good game, Stephanie.
And you're scared.
Have you been intimate with my husband, Stephanie?
I think that's an inappropriate question.
Just answer it.
You really want me to?
Oh, you haven't. You haven't slept with Eric because if you had, you would have thrown it in my face so fast I wouldn't have known what hit me. No, you stroke his ego just like the bimbos at work, but you're nothing to Eric, Stephanie. You're just a sounding board, and oh, how frustrating that must be.
Well, now that you're finished, wouldn't you like to leave?
No, there's someone else I'd like to talk about with you. James Warwick.
So you had an interesting night, Mother?
Interesting can hardly begin to describe it.
Well, why don't you describe it more completely?
Well, if you two don't mind, I have work to do. I'll get right on this, Macy.
Thanks. Keith, we'll go over this later.
Why don't you just hear her out?
So, let's hear it.
Something happened that you should know about.
Oh, I'm sure I should.
Last night, your little brother, CJ, was suddenly taken ill. He got so sick that Anthony and I had to rush him to the hospital.
Connor, it was out of my control.
Hey, man, don't tell it to me. Tell it to your lady.
She'll understand. Hell, it's her brother.
So what about the move? You need some help or what?
What?
Hello? You're still moving in with me, right?
Oh, yeah, sure, of course. Eventually, yeah.
Eventually?
Connor, I've got a sick kid over there. I mean, he's terrified by this whole experience. I'm not going to walk out on him right now.
Okay, first of all, he's not your kid. And secondly, you just told me he's going to be fine.
He's still a little feverish. He'll be okay, but I'm not going to walk away right now.
What are you
no.
doing? If you don't want to do this, just say you don't want to do it. But don't waffle. I'm warning you. You are digging yourself into a major hole with Macy.
I just can't leave right now. I promised CJ.
You what?
He asked me not to leave.
So you promised him you wouldn't?
He was sick, Connor. He was burning up.
Listen to me, Anthony. I don't think you understand how important last night was to Macy. She had everything decked out with candles and crystal, the whole 9 yards. I've never seen her on such a high. And man, the letdown after you called, you can't keep doing this to her. She's not gonna put up with it. It's plain and simple.
All right. All right, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, well, I think you should. I mean, I'm assuming that you're still in love with the lady. That is a fair assumption, isn't it?
Yes, I still love her. Nothing has changed.
Well, that's the problem. Something has got to change.
Connor, I know.
Okay, so little CJ is gonna be all right.
Yes.
Then what is holding you back from leaving?
Connor, I don't think you'd understand. I doubt anybody could.
Has to do with your family, right? The way you were brought up.
I know it sounds like a lame excuse.
You just need to get beyond that.
Yeah. Get beyond it like my brother did.
Your brother? I didn't know you had a brother.
Yeah, I guess I haven't talked much about him, have I?
Oh, I guess you haven't. So what's he like?
Messed up. Now, he could really benefit from the situation I'm in with CJ and Sally. We never experienced anything like that in my life.
Anthony, we've all had our problems, okay?
I'm talking about a problem of parents who did not care. People who did not want kids who had them anyway. Look, I want to get on with it. I want a life with Macy, a future with her, a family maybe someday, but I will not abandon CJ and Sally. They're teaching me things I never knew before. How to live with people, how to be part of a family. This is a totally new experience for me. And some part of me really needs this right now.
Well, Macy needs you too.
CJ got sick?
He's all right now, but he certainly wasn't last night.
What was wrong with him?
I don't know, honey. He suddenly developed a fever, and then it went out of control. Now, the doctor told me that sort of thing happens with some children, but with CJ, it was bad. He went into a convulsion.
Oh, my God.
Tell you the truth, Macy, if Anthony hadn't been there, I don't know what I would have done. He was wonderful. He took charge of everything.
CJ, is he okay now?
Yeah, he's fine. They let him come home from the hospital. He's there now with a nurse to look after him.
Good.
The doctors kept saying that it isn't life-threatening, but it was very serious, Macy. It was very serious. Thank goodness we were able to get him to the hospital in time, thanks to Anthony's quick thinking, and they were able to bring down his fever.
So that's why...
That's why what?
I called last night and I got the machine.
Oh, that must have been when we were at the hospital.
Is Anthony at work yet?
When I left the house, he was still there at the apartment. He was reading to CJ.
I have to talk to him.
That poor man has a lot to deal with right now. Last night he told me that he was planning to move in with Connor Davis.
He did?
Seems that Connor is having trouble coping with things since his breakup with Karen.
So, how do you feel about that?
Well, I certainly wasn't going to complain about it. After all, Connor is Anthony's best friend. Besides, everything's changed now. I really don't think Anthony's going anywhere.
Mother, why don't you think Anthony is moving out?
Well, because CJ asked him not to.
He did.
Oh, Macy, I wish you could see the way they are with each other. Anthony's become everything to CJ. Father, big brother, best friend. And that little boy has just blossomed from the day Anthony moved in. You ought to come by more often. You should see them together.
Mother, if Anthony wants to live with Connor, then...
I know, darling, I've thought about that. Do I have the right to make Anthony stay for CJ's sake? I've thought a lot about that.
Well, I mean, do you think it's fair?
I only know one thing. I only know that I can't deny that little boy the one thing he wants and needs and has never had. A genuine, honest-to-God role model.
Well, Mother, Anthony can be that without being there.
Yes, I know, that's true, but there is another element involved here, and that's my feelings for Anthony. Macy, I've never said this to him, and please don't you mention it either. But I don't know what I'd do if he moved out now. I don't know how I could cope with the loneliness and the emptiness. I love him so much, Macy. I love him more than I've ever loved anyone in my life. We are so compatible. We are so sensitive to each other's needs and feelings. In every way, here at the office, we have the same hopes and dreams and ambitions for the company. And at home, we're like a real family. We both love CJ so much. I know I'm possibly being very foolish. I keep telling myself that it's not very plausible for someone like Anthony to be in love with someone like me. But that's exactly what seems to be happening. We have real, genuine feelings for each other. And I trust him. Do you know how long it's been since I've been able to say that about any man in my life? And I do trust Anthony. Everything in my life is better since he became a part of it. I mean, tell me honestly, have you ever seen me this happy?
No, Mother, no, I haven't.
Well, maybe that's because I never have been this happy. And you know the most amazing part, the strangest and most wonderful part of all, is that I keep getting this feeling that this is going to go on forever. I think he's for real, Macy. I think we are for real. I do. Oh, darling, I believe that. I believe that with all my heart.
You amaze me, Jack.
Why?
You come in here and you put me on the spot and you expect me, I don't know what it is you expect of me. You expect me to become defensive, I
Yeah,
guess.
because you really don't want to answer the question, do you?
Damn right I don't.
It's because you're playing two women, one against the other.
No. That may be your style. It's not mine, Jack.
I got one woman in my life, and I feel I am losing her to a married man. What worries me the most is I don't want Stephanie getting hurt in this.
Neither do I.
Well, it's inevitable, isn't it, if you have any kind of involvement with her?
Now, Jack, Stephanie and I have a relationship that continues to evolve and to grow. Now, if that's a threat to you, I'm sorry.
Is that what you told your wife?
As a matter of fact, yes, that's exactly what I told her.
How'd she react to it?
That's between her and me. Look, Jack, your relationship with Stephanie has got to be just that. Your relationship with Stephanie. I'm not involved in that. I have no part in it. If Stephanie wants to see you, if that's what makes her happy, I'm not going to discourage her from that. And I expect the same consideration from you.
I would do that for you, Eric. I really would, except for one thing. I sincerely believe that what Stephanie wants from you is a lot more than any kind of friendship. And I don't think that she can get it. Do you? Honestly?
You want to ask me something about James Warwick?
Yes.
What?
Well, you signed a pass allowing him into Forrester.
Yes, I did. If I hadn't, Brooke probably would have.
Well, that's just my point. Brooke didn't have to because Brooke wasn't there, Stephanie. You don't even like the man.
True. And yet I let him wander around the building. I must be more tolerant than I realized.
What's going on with you and James?
He's not my type.
Stephanie!
What makes you think something's going on?
Because he's been asking an awful lot of questions about me.
Oh, maybe he's interested in you.
Oh, he's interested, all right. You know what I think? I think you two are forming an alliance to destroy my marriage so that you can end up with Eric. And oh, Stephanie, I hope I'm right. I truly hope I'm right. Because then I'll have every excuse to do what I've been wanting to do for a long time.
And what is that, Sheila?
Let's just put it this way. When my family is threatened, I don't cower. I fight. I do whatever I have to do, whatever I have to do to protect my loved ones. So you want to tangle with me? You give me your best shot, your very best. And then let's just see how well you can handle my best shot. Let's just see.